It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere we go. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I don't often start coffee moaning, or we don't often start coffee moaning with a comment from one of you guys already on screen. So if you're listening on podcast, I've started this podcast, and at the bottom it just says this: Musical Chimp 5. You have this unique accolade. Jake Paul getting his jaw broken on Friday. Andrew Tate getting beaten, if you can call that a boxing match, on Saturday. It was a very good weekend. And you're missing off the end there. Old teeny tiny Tommy being given a mouthful and a bit of a shove and a bit of argy-bargy. You know, the Timmy Tommy Robinson who doesn't like Muslims, thinks all Muslims should get out of the country, but he's quite happy to go to a Muslim country. That's weird, isn't it? So morning, everyone. Thanks for that, Musical Chimp. Yeah, it's been a weekend of male egos being bruised, or perhaps more accurately, maybe it's more, I don't know, a sort of fetish thing. Maybe these men just like being hurt and losing and being on the ropes and all the rest of it. It's a submissive thing, presumably for Potato Head and Jake Paul and teeny tiny Tommy. I think it must be a submissive thing, because they did it so they were sort of defeated and sort of humiliated so surprisingly easily and with such speed and such pleasure. One just can't help if that's their thing, maybe. But we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. So disturbing Epstein photos. Apologies again. Thank you for everyone's tolerance over the weekend. We had a breaking life story, which is still obviously ongoing, which interrupted and got in the way of the Curly Cooks happening after Coffee Moaning. We had to foreshorten Coffee Moaning on Saturday too. It's obviously had an impact, not necessarily on us getting Vlogmas out, but numerous things that we had scheduled to shoot, film, have had to, some of them have just had to be dropped or nudged or moved because it's just been impossible given the nature which some very unpleasant individuals who are emotionally dense refuse to acknowledge. It sometimes becomes a little bit difficult to, film everything that we had planned. So still Vlogmas is coming. Vlogmas will be landing tonight. The narrative carries on. How is Narnia going? We've got a nice little outing to the park with some very special four-legged friends. So thank you for all of your messages in support of the channel, in support of Vlogmas and everything, and understanding that the nature of this content, it's not a program that a broadcaster puts out, which has been scheduled and filmed across the year and is there ready to go, like a David Walliams program or something like that, which can then be pulled. We are evolving, and it's 24, 25 episodes, at least half an hour across a month. So there you go. So we're going to be talking about further disturbing Epstein photos. Jeffrey Epstein. I just want to talk about, we talked at great length over the weekend about how redacted all of the Epstein files were. Redacted to the point that it was almost like, I don't know, it was like a photocopier had gone rogue, photocopying the sun, because all it was just black rectangles and squares and what have you. But I've got another theory on this. Whilst, yes, a few more photos have come out, yes, more stuff is coming out, I'm beginning to wonder whether I think I've got a grasp on this. Just park this thought in your mind whilst we go forward. Do you think, because the photos that were released last night, or that I'm going to show you later, of Epstein with clearly much younger children who have been, or younger, under the age, minors, let's call them. They're not photos of him doing anything, obviously horrible, but they, in the context of knowing what he is, what he was, what he did, they're particularly sinister. And I just wonder whether what's actually happening here is there's an attempt in releasing the cache of images and files, etc., to kind of make people even more horrified by him, so that when and if the other stuff comes out, it kind of ends up looking not quite so bad. That's one of my thoughts here, is perhaps there's an attempt to kind of really double down on the extremity and the paedophilic and the illegal nastiness of Jeffrey Epstein, in an attempt to kind of minimize the potential damage that's going to be aimed at others. As I've got in the title, Tommy Robertson and Andrew Tate KO'd, knocked out. David Walliams dropped, another sinister story. Another story about another celebrity who I just want to get I want to hear what your thoughts are on David Walliams. Of course, he denies the allegations, but he's been dropped from his publishers. He's been dropped by Waterstones. He's been dropped by the BBC, though they aren't pulling, as I understand it. Is it who would lie to you? I think he's on a panel show. They haven't said they're going to pull a panel show on which he features. And again, at this stage, it's all accusations. So we're going to talk about that. And what the fuck has happened to Nicki Minaj? What's going on there? Nicki Minaj on stage with Erika Kirk, and Erika Kirk just becomes more and more bizarre with every minute that goes by. And I also want to touch upon the monstrosity that is Ben Gvir and the evolving situation still in Gaza. Morning, Al Zaran. I hope you're well. Musical Chimp. There were 15 files that were released that were then taken offline. One of them was Trump. Yeah, there was a photo, wasn't there, also in a drawer? It's a photo we've all seen and known before. I do genuinely think that, it's interesting, Nadia, as a kind of bellwether on this. There needs to be, I think there's an assumption that if not very much is revealed very soon, people will lose. Well, people don't trust the process, but people will also lose interest. I think that must be what the thought is at Trump Towers, right? It's so obviously a cover-up. It just can't. I can't actually sort of fathom the fact that anyone would think that it's anything but a cover-up. Does anyone else agree? Marina Driscoll. Yeah, we'll talk about Walliams in a moment. So. Yeah, that's just weird. Okay, well, here's some images. This is Epstein, New York Post. Epstein seen kissing, cuddling little girls in stomach-turning, churning. New photos released by the Department of Justice. His forever grinning, Joker-esque face. Again, these are images, if you're listening on podcast, of him with his arms around. He's in bathrobe in one image. He's on a plane, also looking like he's in a bathrobe because he has a shirt. In another, and he is kind of, and in another one, he's kissing the head of a young girl. Now, in the spirit of strict kind of, there is nothing necessarily illegal happening here. Everything that one supposes about this is drawn from the knowledge of what he is, what he was. These are images that if you were a dad and you were just having a photo taken with your kids, there's, in and of themselves, they could just be moments of cuddling a relation, but we know that that's not what he was up to. And so consequently, once again, these images feel stomach turning and stomach churning. Who took the photos? This is an interesting one. I don't know if anyone else feels this. I was talking to Nadia about it over the weekend, and, of course, we're outraged, we're horrified. Does it feel like, bearing in mind that it's impossible to say what they're holding back. So we have no way to knowing what's being concealed because we haven't seen it because it's being concealed. It's like I always say, a cover-up, when a cover-up's effective, you don't know what's been covered up because it's a cover-up. Oh my God. And then it becomes a bit Schrodinger's cat. So we knew Epstein did it, precisely, Gabrielle. So this isn't about the horror or the awfulness of what we know or what we can infer from those images. But are we being told anything we didn't already know from either the tranche of photos that was coming out before Friday or the new images and the new content that's coming out? We can only keep being horrified or not surprised to see Woody Allen, Noam Chomsky, Bill Gates, Richard Branson, the Clintons, or certainly Bill Clinton. I saw a photo over the weekend. There was even a photograph of Ghislaine Maxwell in a fast-moving car or sat in a car. And the bit that was redacted was her crutch because it was obviously she was revealing a little bit too much for the camera. And when I sort of showed that to Nad, she was like, yeah, we know what she was charged with or guilty of. But once again, in and of itself, is that image itself proof of anything other than she fancied having a photo taken of her Nuna, if you know what I mean? I think there's a danger with this, and here's my double-pronged thought and I want to know what you think. On the one hand, if it keeps coming out and dribbling out like this, people will tire of the fact that there's nothing kind of particularly new. There's no major smoking gun. And yet at the same time, circling back to what I said, we don't necessarily, because we don't know what's been redacted, we don't know what is unseen or hasn't been shown. You know, there are allegedly or reportedly over 1,200 victims of the Epstein case. And one of the major arguments about the redactions is protecting the identities of victims and victims' families. What if those victims and the victims' families said, you don't need to protect us, you don't need to redact us, you just need to show us? What, can they do that? Are they allowed to kind of phone up the Department of Justice and go, do you know what, I think I'm in that photograph that's got a black rectangle over my head. Can you unblack rectangle it, please? Victoria Moore, that's interesting. This is what I want to drive at. I feel people are tiring of it already, or certainly going that way. And I think that's the strategy. I think that's the strategy, Victoria Moore, to kind of, for us all to feel like there's a move towards more transparency. And in the move towards more transparency, very little comes towards us. So people go, well, maybe there isn't much to reveal. Farida, what more are we looking for? You see, I just think that there's some psychological operation going on here. I think there's a strategy here. I think it's been thought about. I think the psychotherapy of this is take a long time. Yeah, keep revealing more and more stuff that kind of incriminates Epstein. Have more and more images of Democrats and Clinton and all that lot. Keep that trotting along. Though, again, maybe there's nothing more incriminating, but we will never know. And this is the problem with this, isn't it? This is the problem with a cover-up. This is the problem with people thinking it's the deep state. And I think even when you know something's being covered up, you can only keep banging on about the cover-up for so long, can't you? I think that's the issue. Even if there is a massive cover-up and those thousands of pages that have been redacted reveal everything that we would want to know, need to know, and should know about Trump or anyone else, you can only keep banging on about that for so long. I mean, like, for instance, here, we can only show a couple of new photos. They don't move the story on. There's no kind of evolution. And I think it's interesting as we go through the grind of, are we looking to see something? Are we looking to find something? Are we waiting for something? And at a certain point, if you are waiting for something, it's like watching is it like watching a stopped clock? No, is it like watching a boiling kettle, paint dry? You keep watching it. Eventually, you have to move or avert your gaze. Reese Roberts, the tactic is to wait out societal interest. Joy Duncan, very sad to see Noam Chomsky so chummy with Epstein and Ely. I know. Chomsky burned his books. I mean, all of his fantastic Marxist kind of breakdown, manufactured consent, the system is fucked. And what? I mean, if no one knows who Noam Chomsky is, it's a huge disappointment. But given he was an ardent, or he has written, as an advocate, for and against oppression, for the Palestinians, against oppression, you've got to remember that Epstein was operating a blackmail, honey trap sort of, scam or system. So someone like Noam Chomsky is a good get. He's someone who very articulately and very powerfully and very philosophically could kind of unpick the awfulness of Israel. So to get him in a compromised situation. And the interesting thing here is also this. And am I right in thinking, Andrew, again, the legalities, we know that Epstein is a pedophile. We know that child abuse happened. We know that Trump has expressed his attraction to and his appreciation of, well, not women under a certain age, of children. So young girls under the age of 16, children, so we know that. But perhaps the problem here is that it's all about an attitude. And I think, YouTube, you've been saying this for a long time, and it's less necessarily about Where does the illegality sit? And I just think it's natural. It's natural and not surprising that people eventually have to move on. It will sit in the news for 2 to 3 to 4 days, and then it has to move on. One just doesn't know who's holding what and when they're going to release it back into the public realm. So it's entirely frustrating. But one thing you do know is that there is a cover-up of something here, and the victims are being used as the reason to. So they are now allegedly protecting the victims. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird that they would? So many American sort of senior government officials wouldn't meet with the victims. But now they're supporting the protection of the victims by redacting everything. We need to look after them now. It doesn't matter that the elite, the rich, the white men, the controlling, oligarchs, the rich, the famous, the powerful. It doesn't matter that they harmed and were part of a grooming gang and sexual trafficking system for the elite. We didn't need to worry about protecting them then, but we must do what we can to protect them all now by redacting everything out. We must keep everything under a Sharpie pen. So, it's curious, isn't it? It's curious how it's curious. I've noticed that also in this country. We always want to protect the victims at the point that, we're going to know what's happened to them and what they were doing. Let's move on to. I just want to move over. Given that Epstein was working for and in cahoots with Israeli intelligence, given that we know that there is a strong tie-up between Mossad and Epstein, and therefore it's a pretty safe bet that most of the blackmail and most of the leverage that Epstein had on all these major sort of individuals in the higher echelons of American society and British society was an attempt by Israeli intelligence to leverage what they needed from these other countries. Let's turn to Israel. It's a relevant segue. Ben Gvir, the rabid pug that simply can't get enough of trying to kill Palestinians. Israel's is he the security minister? I forget what he is. National security minister. Such a joke. Ben Gvir proposes a prison encircled by crocodiles for Palestinians. Obviously taking a few leaves of inspiration from the Trumpian playbook of Alligator Alley, or whatever it was down in was it in Florida? This is less about the details of really. It's just more about the fact that with every gyration of the senior political governorship of Israel, with every utterance that comes out of the mouth, whether it be Benjamin Netanyahu telling all Australians that basically all Muslims want all Australians dead, they'll be coming for you next. You just sort of think, oh my God, if you wrote this in a film, and if you wrote this in a script, you'd look at it and you go, nah, we have to take that out. It's totally unfucking believable. Here he is, quintessential Blomfeld, is it Blomfeld? Bond villain style. Let's have a prison encircled by crocodiles. What are we going to have next, Ben? You're going to start feeding them to them. And on that, I just want to play this question asked of Marco Rubio. So as America, as the dust falls, barely, the genocide continues. A wedding was bombed over the weekend. We've had over 450 Palestinians killed since the ceasefire. And this is not to minimize the significance or the impact of what's happened in Bondi, but the tragedy in Bondi is described as a massacre, but over 400 Palestinians killed since the ceasefire is called a ceasefire. I find that really curious. It's such a stark comparative. So all the people killed in Bondi is a massacre, rightly so. It was an awful massacre. But over 450 Palestinians killed since the ceasefire is still called a ceasefire. Wow, quite remarkable. Anyway, Marco Rubio was challenged on Israel's conduct post-ceasefire.
A few moments ago that everyone wants peace for Gaza, and yet by any metric, the Israelis are flouting the ceasefire that President Trump negotiated by killing an average of 2 children a day, not allowing the agreed upon humanitarian aid, into Gaza. How long can this continue? How long can the Israelis be allowed to show such disrespect to President Trump?
Well, look, that's your characterization of it about the term disrespect. What I would say is this. This was, first of all, it was a miracle that it happened in the first place. We all understand how difficult it was for that to come to the conclusion that it did, where the bombing and everything else, the scale and scope of what we saw ended, all the hostages were released, and we have relative peace right now for the most part, despite the things you're pointing to. That was very difficult. But this is not easy. Peace is a verb. It's an action. It's not a sentiment. Every single day will bring challenges. Every single day. We also have had instances, for example, over the last couple of weeks, where Hamas elements emerged from a tunnel, attached an explosive device to the side of a vehicle, and injured and almost killed Israeli soldiers. We still have this threat. We still have and see every single day Hamas openly taking steps to strengthen themselves within inside of those places in Gaza that they still control. We saw early on the atrocities they were committing in the streets against people as they were trying to show people how strong they were. So I don't think I'm standing here to tell you this is going to be easy. This is an hour-by-hour, day-by-day challenge. It's one of the reasons why we have stood up this center there in operating in Israel in partnership as well with another cell that exists in a regional country. It's why every single day there are meetings among both intelligence, diplomatic, and military officials of multiple countries that help bring about this deal to manage this. And that's why it is so critical. It is so critical and so key that we move to complete this first phase, that we move to put in place the board of peace, get everybody agree to be a part of it, move to put in place this Palestinian technocratic organization so that they can begin to provide some governance structure, and move to put in place the stabilization force. That's the goal here, but it's not.
No, the goal here is for America to invest 60 to $65 billion of the $120 billion that it's expected to cost to rejuvenate and regenerate the Gaza Strip into a technological oasis of civilization and money-making possibilities. They want to turn the Gaza Strip into a money-churning, Vegas-style, Dubai-esque eco center where essentially, undoubtedly, there will be a gesture towards looking after some of the indigenous Palestinians by popping them probably in assisted housing on the margins, away from the coast, in the most blighted areas. It's just absolutely astonishing. I feel like I've got everything confused. What is peace? Is it an adjective? Is it a verb? Or is it a noun? Peace. What is peace? Peace, a ceasefire. This ceasefire is only a ceasefire through the lens of Israel. It's only a ceasefire. So Israel can do whatever the fuck they want. They can pick off as many people. They can shoot anyone. They can carry on doing what they're doing in the West Bank. Because they never had to declare a ceasefire in the West Bank, they just carry on doing what they did in the West Bank. The only sort of acknowledgement of the West Bank by the American government is Donald Trump going, "Don't even worry about the West Bank. Don't even look there. You don't have to look there. No annexation there." Hang on a minute. You were given $250 million to promise Miriam Adelson that you would annex the West Bank, and she's promised you another $250 million if you were to run for presidency for a third time. Never forgetting the West Bank, Janina M. So just a shocking range, and I love the way the questioner there, the journalist said, you know, this is insulting to Trump. The only way you can try and get under the skin of this American administration is to try and suggest that Israel are running circles around you. But the reason Trump and this administration don't mind being the the cuckolded gimp to Israel is because Israel has footage of them all being cuckolded gimps, probably. So, you know, you've got to, Israel has the PP tapes, though it's not probably a PP tape. Israel has the all the kind of fucking tapes, has the compromised material. Is it compromat? Is that what they call it in Russia? That's why you could not in a month of Sundays expect Donald Trump to be taken advantage of and taken to the cleaners in the manner that he is being right now, unless he is utterly compromised. So there you have it. So, aid isn't being allowed in. Palestinians are dying due to flooding, due to lack of aid, lack of fundamental kind of, facilities. They're still picking off and killing Palestinians on a daily basis. But that's still that's a ceasefire. And, you know, rightly so, in Bondi and Sydney, it's a massacre. And I'll say it again, but over 400 since the ceasefire here is still actually remarkably a ceasefire. And the part of all of this that makes my eyes water is that this board of executives, this board of trustees, which thankfully Tony Blair has been kicked off. Even Trump and Netanyahu, Blair was a step too far. That rodent was just a step too far. You know, all of this it's basically Gaza is going to become a colony of America or a colony of Israel, because Israel is a colony, or really America is a colony of Israel. It's staggering, isn't it? The gimpification of America. How humiliating. Anyway, so moving on. Let's move towards, before we deal with the teeny tiny Tommy, the potato head, and Jake Paul. If I'm brutally honest, I don't have a huge sense of, is Jake Paul as reactionary and as unprogressive and as offensive as Potato Head? When I say Potato Head, I'm referring to Andrew Tate, and teeny tiny Tommy is Tommy Robinson. Is Jake Paul as offensive as those two? I mean, I don't hear about him in the same. I mean, I find him fucking annoying whenever I see him, but is he as offensive? Anyway, we're going to talk about them towards the end. Oh, we've got David Walliams as well. Let me just have a look at this. I just want to show you this. Normally, this is a meme I'm just flapping up from an Instagram account called Feminist News Now. No, Jake Paul is just annoying. Thanks, Persephone. That's my sense of him, is that he's just fucking annoying. He sticks his tongue out a lot, doesn't he? Normally, if you die, is this harsh? Normally, if you die, you just hope your wife doesn't remarry within the first 3 months. But I never even considered fireworks. I saw someone else said the fourth stage of grief is selling merchandise, which I thought was wow. I mean, now, there was a point where I think we would have all said, oh, God, that's a bit much. I mean, you know, she's lost her husband, and it was just an awful situation, and no one is taking away from the awfulness of the Charlie Kirk. But does anyone else, can I just ask, just fundamentally, but it's the week of Christmas, we're allowed to just be a little bit more informal. Does everyone find Erika Kirk's grief, if that's what it is, unusual? Does anyone else find it sort of strange, or is it something to be marveled at and admired, and maybe it's all about her faith? And it's not about merch and fireworks and the rest of it. Pyrotechnics must be a funeral, says Arsenal Trill. Oh, musical chimp, does he? Oh, Jake Paul, he cheers on ice in America. God, ice, ice, baby, Jesus. It is all rather strange. Okay, well, so Erika Kirk, she's been on stage. She's at was it the Talking Point American Foundation or something like that, American Convention. Does seem weird, but we all, Cloda, yeah, I like, bless you. You know, it does seem weird, but we all grieve differently, I suppose. I think we all gave her the pass to grieve differently, but I do think something else has kicked in. I don't know what it is. King Bridget suggests maybe it's the evangelical thing that she does is unusual. Do you think maybe it's the eye thing, isn't it? It's the kind of intensity of the eye. No Western media on this, not even independent media. On what? Sorry, Watermelon. What we were just talking about. Tate got KO'd by a newbie with a man bun. Lol. Oh God, don't. Well, yeah. Again. Well, let me tube. You're taking me. It's an embarrassment of riches. The Tommy Robinson, Andrew Tate, Jake Paul moment. But let's just stick with. I just want to stick with Erika Kirk for a minute, principally because I was staggered and amazed. Oh, here we go. Here's some clips. So here's another clip. The fifth stage of grief, merch. Okay, I just thought I'd share that with you. Here's another clip.
Devastating loss of Charlie Kirk, my incredible husband at UVU. Caleb has persisted with the same gift.
Ooh.
Grit. It has been a long day.
Yeah, that was a bit. I noticed someone said grifter, and she said his grift, like my late husband, the grift. Oh, she meant the grit. Oh, the gift. I mean, I suppose, you know, grit and gift. If you've got grit, true grit, and if you've got a gift, it's very easy to Freudian, in a Freudian fashion, bring the two into grift. I mean, I think that's forgivable in a sense. I mean, but then let's push it through the Marco Rubio blender. Is it a adjective? Is it a noun? Or is it a verb? Fucking hell, I don't know. Depends which way you get to the word grift. But here's some moments between Erika Kirk and Nicki Minaj. Now, Nicki Minaj, what's going on here? I don't understand. I've always found her remarkably watchable, principally because I always have to ask the girls, is that the real color of her eyeballs? It sounds so old, doesn't it? It's just like, but really bright eyeballs, as in contact lenses, incredibly long nails, a lot of booty, as I understand it. There you go, white British man saying booty. That must be quite fun for everyone. But let's check this out. Erika Kirk on stage with Nicki Minaj. Play the tape, as they say.
You had some fun words for Governor Newsom.
Remarkable.
I have to read these tweets because they're amazing and they are so funny. Okay, first one, we'll do this one. Unless you want to read it in your own voice. I think it'd be really great.
Imagine being the guy running on wanting to see trans kids. Haha, not even a trans adult would run on that. Normal adults wake up and think they want to see healthy, safe, happy kids. Not Gav, the Gav nots. Gav, not in, Gav out. Send in the next guy, I'm bored.
So is that what everyone likes about her? Is it the way she kind of, you know, they're talking about Gavin Newsom there. She's obviously having a crack at trans rights. You know, I mean, JD Vance, I think at the same event, made a big announcement saying, we don't need to apologize for being white now. I don't think anyone did have to apologize for being white, did they? I think we had to apologize for what white people had done. I think that's all right. You know, we've done such awful things. But let's carry on. Nicki Minaj, this is another embarrassment of riches here.
Well, I have the utmost respect and admiration for our president.
This is on the White House Instagram account.
He has, I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope.
Nobody does hope better than me. Nobody does hope better than me.
To beat the bad guys.
I don't like bad guys. I don't like bad guys. People call me bad. I'm not bad. I'm just orange.
Win and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact.
Nobody has more integrity intact than me.
Administration is full of people with heart and soul. And they make me proud of them. Our vice president, he makes me, well, I love both of them. But they're both powerful men, smart, strong, all of that. But both of them have a very uncanny ability to be someone that you relate to. I can relate to them. When I hear them speak, I know that they're one of us. Like, I know that they're not. Don't you guys agree? They haven't lost touch of the world. You know, they're still connected to the world and what's happening in the world, with the younger people and older people, with the richer people and not so rich people.
Nobody relates better to me than me. Fucking hell. What the hell? I mean, I think you would describe Nicki Minaj, she's a rapper, she's a singer, she's a sort of, you know. Oh, but anyway, the reason I just want to show I was leading you to this. This is the moment where I couldn't quite believe I heard this. So have a listen to what Nicki Minaj, how she describes JD Vance. Listen to this. She says this to Erika Kirk. This is like watching table tennis. You know, when you're like, you know, you're going as fast as you can. I can't wait to see Marty Supreme, by the way. Your head's going left, right, left, right, left, right. Check this out. I can't believe what Nicki Minaj says here.
Amazing role models like the assassin JD Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
I think she's just realized she used the word assassin to a woman whose husband was assassinated.
Trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I have not heard, so you're fine.
Erika Kirk gives her a pass, says, you know what? being the widow of an assassinated husband. You know, whatever. Let bygones be bygones.
Yes, we did.
I think even Nicki Minaj realized her mouth had led far too fast with that one. Just astonishing. Just astonishing, isn't it? She spits back lines fed to her. She has no original thoughts, Persephone personified, and probably no idea even who J.D. Vance is. Reese has eyes in hand. She laughs about it, Persephone. She'll never give Candice a pass, this Arsenal tour. Does anyone know what came of Erika and Candice meeting? I'm sure Candice went live. I mean, I have to confess, Dimitri, I'm with you now. Nadia listens to more of Candice than I can. I can't. It's not that I entirely disagree with what she's saying about the Charlie Kirk thing or the Israel thing. I just find I feel she's trying to engage in sort of some kind of deep hypnosis. It's like listening to a didgeridoo being played incessantly in my inner ear. Okay, let's move on to David Walliams quickly, and then we'll move on to the main event, which is, let's face it, watching Andrew Tate getting thumped. Or maybe I don't have the clip of him being thumped, but we certainly have the footage of his face after he was thumped. And we've also got an image of Jake Paul being thumped. And we've got, for all of your edification, because we didn't have time on Saturday, I am going to be playing you the moment Tommy Robinson is accosted by a boxer, I forget his name, whilst he was being interviewed in Dubai. How weird that teeny tiny Tommy is keen to go to Dubai. Obviously, this event was called the Misfits, and boy, what a bunch of misfits. So this is the story over the weekend. This was breaking David Walliams. Any fans here of David Walliams? David Walliams dropped by publisher over inappropriate behavior towards women. Telegraph into investigation. God, the Telegraph's been busy, isn't it? Into best-selling children's author uncovers claims he harassed junior female employees at HarperCollins. BBC cut ties with Walliams following Telegraph investigation. No future projects, says the corporation, but planned Christmas screenings of book adaptations will go ahead, as will a Will I Lie to You, I think, panel show. Walliams denies allegations, strongly denies harassing junior female staff after publisher dropped him. David Walliams dropped by publisher over harassment claims. And as I say, today, the story is David Walliams has been removed from the Waterstones Children's Book Festival. As booksellers confirm, comedian and author has been cut from lineup. Now, one has to tread carefully here legally. I think it's well known, relatively well known, that a legal battle of sorts or legal restraints of sorts have been ongoing around David Walliams for quite some time. There's been all sorts of swirling rumors, and they're all just rumors. They're all sort of, suggestions, and, ideas and allegations. And I don't know if you remember, there was the moment where he talk about he wouldn't want to have sex with a contributor on Britain's Got Talent, and then he sort of did Nazi salutes and things like that. So, he's been caught, and of course he was part of a show, Little Britain, him and Matt Lucas, which, if you look at it in the cold light of day now, is full of stereotypes, is full of taking the piss out of people with disability, with learning difficulties, of ethnicity, of sexuality, etc., etc. And I think they would potentially argue that it was all just of a time and of an era. And I think there was, the reason I'm saying all of this, I think it's really important to get two things into place here. I do think there was an era where it's a bit like the Keith Lemon thing, where it was you look back and you think, wow, we are more awake now. And you look at it and you go, whoa, you wince and you go, fucking hell, how did this pass the fucking litmus test? And I think one can acknowledge, even if you were the creators of that content, which I think someone like Keith Lemon has, you can go, okay, well, look, it wasn't meant like that, and I'm sorry, and it was an oversight, and, we wouldn't do it again, and we recognize that. I think there's a recognition of inappropriateness in content. I mean, let's not forget Nigel Farage reminding us all that the BBC or ITV would broadcast programs like Ain't Half Hot Man, the Black and White Minstrels show. Yeah, everyone, it was an oversight. It was wrong. We can look at it now and we can call it out and we can see it for what it was. And I think even on that, I think you can give even Catherine Tate and, you know, you can give comedians a little bit of leeway, because the point of comedy is to shock. The point of comedy is to tickle at the edges. Now, and if I'm really honest, when I used to watch Little Britain, although there were all those elements in them, if you were to ask me what I thought David Walliams and Matt Lucas's, I worked with Matt Lucas briefly once, lovely guy. If you were to have asked me what I thought their politics were, I'd have said they were left. I would have thought, you know, I would never have suggested they were kind of reactionary or anything like that. Anyway. But this is very different. This is all revolving around the accusation that he behaved inappropriately towards young women at his publisher, HarperCollins. He's accused of harassing a female member of staff at the firm, who subsequently left with a 5-figure payout. Walliams was fired from his publisher whilst not being told of the allegations, and so he hadn't been kind of updated. So who thinks he's being treated fairly and who thinks he's being treated unfairly? And who has just that sort of feeling that they're, you know, you can just not like someone or have a weird feeling from them. And I've always had a weird feeling from David Walliams, more than I've necessarily had with Matt Lucas. There are certain sort of celebrities that you do, don't you? It's like Philip Schofield. I always had a weird feeling around him, watching him, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, I agree, Michu. I think Little Britain was funny because it looked at the absurdities around realities, not because it took a political position. Yeah, and I do think hindsight productions is an easy thing to kind of go, oh, well, you know, was he a racist there? I don't even necessarily think what they were doing was, at the time, would they have necessarily have thought of as even racist? Of course it is, and of course you look back and it was. So let's have a look. Christine Beck. David Walliams has not been treated fairly. They've never apologized for doing blackface, says Rebs832. I don't think the BBC has either for the Black and White Minstrel Show, has it? Heather Draper. See, he does creepy too well. Not helped by the fact that so many of his characters in Little Britain were deeply creepy. But that was kind of what made him weirdly very watchable. And sometimes I've often thought to myself, is my issue with him as a personality partly to do with the very success of his creepy characters? If I was his PR team now, or if I was someone working with him and he wasn't, I'm not saying he is, but, you know, a lot of people who have huge success become very sort of ivory towered and can't be told what to do or what to think. I would almost say to him, look, why don't you just sort of acknowledge that perhaps you did a really good job of playing lots of creepy roles and you're not as creepy as everyone likes to think you are. That doesn't speak to these allegations. Everyone has a right to answer, says DP. If he wants to challenge it, he can afford to do so with his lawyers. Linda Holmes, there was always something uncomfortable about him, sadly. Sorry to hear that. Maida Saloma death count 3009. Sorry you're in pain today. But yeah, so there we go. But here's I found this meme. This is I don't know who this is. I don't know the account, but is he a comedian? Doing a sort of skit on what on earth David Walliams could have done to upset people.
Racist?
No.
Is it because I'm homophobic?
No.
Is it because I humiliated the young man on stage by putting his trousers down once?
No.
Is it because I made fun of black people?
No.
Is it because I made fun of gay people?
No.
Is it because I made fun of disabled people? Is it because I made fun of Asian people?
No.
Is it because I made fun of South Asian people?
No.
Is it because I'm a member of a gentleman's club that routinely sexually harasses young women?
No.
Is it because I wrote a short story called Brian Wong, Who Was Never Wrong?
No.
Is it because I once did a Nazi salute in a show?
No.
Oh, it's the women, is it? Oh, okay then.
I have to say, I did read a couple of his books, I think, once. I didn't think they were particularly very good. I think he was thinking he was the new Roald Dahl, but he really, really wasn't the new Roald Dahl. Okay, in other news, the Left Bible has this meme. Tommy Robinson, Jake Paul, and Andrew Tate all been made to look like the tits they truly are this weekend. That kind of speaks to really the content that I've got coming. If you don't know who Jake Paul is, there's an image of him with a bloody tongue. I don't know if that was actually yesterday. This is him after his fight. And there he is again with his brother. Curious, isn't it? Sort of YouTuber to fighter. Apparently, am I right in thinking he earned something like $15 million per round? I mean, I'd break my jaw for that. Jesus Christ. just back referencing David Walliams, there's always a bit of a lag, isn't there? Interesting point, Rachel Pickard. I think he enjoys playing with people's perception of him, so the truth of him becomes very skewed. He probably thinks he's being very clever, instead just bewildering. Yes, just a final thought on that with David Walliams. I do think David Walliams, there is almost a sort of art school performance art thing about David Walliams. I think you're right, and I think maybe he could lean into that as a meet. I'm not suggesting how he defends himself, but I think that's possibly accounts for why we'll have a confused sense of him. So Jake, this is the news that Jake Paul took a great thumping. He had his jaw broken by Anthony Joshua, teeth removed, and he's going to spend 7 days eating through a straw. He made £65 million. I'd have all my teeth taken out, my jaw realigned. Great. I'll have a better set of gnashes, and I like straw-fed food. It's quite tasty. Here's a funny-ish meme that someone again posted online.
Keep flipping between these two photos. I can't get enough. Look at his face. I don't think I've ever seen the pure embodiment of FAFO like this before. He doesn't even look like he's sweating. Look, all I want for Christmas is for certain people to feel this. I just keep flipping between these two photos. I can't get enough. Look at his face. I don't think I've ever seen the pure embodiment of FAFO.
What does FAFO mean? Fuck away, fuck off. What does FAFO, what is it an acronym for? I'm being stupid. Great image, isn't it? I mean, there you go. And in fact, he himself has also posted an image somewhere of his actual jaw, the moment his jaw broke. And you can just see, fuck around. Thanks, Reese. Fuck around and find out. Well, he did, didn't he? But I think he knew he was going to find out. So that's one of them. He's just annoying though, Jake Paul. Well, not just annoying. I mean, if he supports ICE. Oh, on that, just quickly, it's Christmas. We can go wherever we want. The film I just showed you of the White House, which was Nicki Minaj, one of those clips the White House actually uploaded onto the White House's Instagram account. Did anyone else notice that the White House also uploaded I can't remember what the reel was. It was something, I can't remember what preceded it, but basically they used John Hamm dancing in a nightclub from that great series that you recommended for us, Reese, Friends and Neighbors. Great series. Check it out over Christmas. Brilliant series to binge. Your Friends and Neighbors. I wonder how John Hamm feels about that. Anyway, this is a meme. So we have a little bit of interview with Potato Head, followed by some shots of the fight. I'll have to kill the music at the end because it's a big commercial track. So here you go.
I'm 40 years old. I'm 10 years out the ring. I had to spend a little bit of time in jail and locked in my house. I have a lot going on, but it's okay to lose, but it's not okay to not try.
Can I just say, I've never heard someone sound more like a pick-me boy than him. I've got a lot going on. I've been in prison. It's important you take part. I'm really, you've got to have a go. Poor me. But the other thing I found, I want to play that again. I find his head remarkable. And I keep looking at him thinking, God, so you feel you are the par exemplar. You are a kind of paragon of masculinity. It must be so, I'm so pleased I'm not like that, but it must be so exhausting. So exhausting having to fight, having to lose a fight, then having to come out and explain why you lost a fight, all because you've got gristly masculinity going on.
I'm 40 years old. I'm 10 years out the ring. I had to spend a little bit of time in jail and locked in my house. I have a lot going on, but it's okay to lose, but it's not okay to not try.
Okay, okay. Or as Rachel Pickard says, my mum sent a note, so please excuse me. So I'm just going to kill the audio because this chap in the foreground has a little bit of a chuckle at, let's have a look at him boxing. Here we go. Incoming. Oh, bit huggy. Oh, yeah. And then let me hug you around the waist. I mean, I don't know anything about boxing. And I know that I would hit the floor within a nanosecond. But Yeah, remarkable. Poor old Andrew Tate. He wants everyone to feel sorry for him. I mean, I wonder what he does having lost a fight. Does he go into his garage and start pummeling and punching his countless sports cars? Does he get some sort of fake prison bars and then pretends to pull them open so that he can feel, oh, imagine being gristly. Oh, imagine being gristly and oh, so male, my hair falls out. It's amazing. Okay, so finally, let's go to Teeny Tiny Tommy. Teeny Tiny Tommy at the Misfits Festival. Are they all at the Misfits? They're all a fucking bunch of misfits, aren't they? This is great. This is the moment that we've got it here. Tommy Robinson is shoved out the way and had a go at by who was it? What's the name of the boxer that has a go? Ty Mitchell. Ty Mitchell. Listen to this. This is great. This is. I wanted to play this at the weekend, but listen to this.
Why are you giving him airtime for?
They are interviewing me.
Why are you giving him airtime?
They are interviewing me.
Racist rat.
They are.
Why are you giving him airtime for?
They are.
Fuck him.
They are interviewing me.
He hates Muslims, but he's in a Muslim
They are
country.
interviewing me.
Where that one at?
They are
He's a
interviewing me.
fucking prick. Don't give him no airtime.
Mate,
you hate Muslims like this. Why are you in this country? You
I'm
hate
here
Muslims.
under invite, actually.
You hate Muslims, so why are you in a Muslim country for? You're a little rat.
Yeah, good one.
Uneducated little rat.
You're uneducated. You're uneducated.
Prick. Get the fuck out of here. You're not wanted around here.
Fuck off, you mug. Let me
You're
finish
not
my
wanted
interview.
around here.
I'll finish my interview.
What this interview?
We'll do it. I'll finish my interview.
He's a fucking idiot. Don't put him on no interview. Don't give him no time. The racist rat bastard. He hates Muslims, but he's in a Muslim country. Where that one at? How the fuck does that work?
Do you know how
out?
many Muslims I know? That mates with me. I don't like terrorism. I don't like jihadists.
Neither do Muslims.
Stand up against me.
I do stand up against them. Yeah, I do. Why don't you stand up against the grooming gangs that are white? I've only ever seen you stand up against. I'm from Derby, England.
You're from Derby?
Yeah. I only see you stand up against the Muslims. I stand up. What do you mean? What am I doing here? I'm a professional. I fight for misfits. I'm a misfits fighter. What are you doing here? I'll go against anything that's against Islam.
Okay. So
Raping's against Islam. Grooming gangs are against Islam.
I'm here under the invite of Emiratis, who I'm meeting tomorrow to discuss terrorist organisations in the UK. So that's got not. It's got fuck all
white
to do with
ones
you.
or just Asian ones.
I'm here to meet Emirati Muslims who work, Muslims from here, the United Arab Emirates, who work against
the problem is,
against the
let me
Muslim
tell you the issue
Brotherhood.
I've got with you. The issue I've got with you is I'm not bothered. No, but I've watched this stuff and the issue I've got is you're only against Muslims. Why when a white person does something you don't post it?
What have I said that you disagree with? What have I said?
No, I'll tell you what you're
disagree.
You only push a narrative against Muslims.
Give me what I've said.
I'm telling you, you only push a narrative against Muslims.
Tell me what I've said.
Why do you not go against all the white people that do it and all the Christians?
Shall I tell you?
In your Bible it says that if a woman doesn't pray when she covers her hair up, you don't put that out there, do you?
Let me tell you.
Go on then.
Because 90% of the men convicted for raping young kids in gangs, 90% are Muslims.
Most of the nonsense look like you, though.
That's not my fault.
Most of the nonsense look like you.
I'm giving you a fact. I'm giving you a fact. Majority of nonsense are white. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well then, so why don't you? I don't see you pointing that shit out.
Because it's a majority
you've
white
got an
nation.
issue. You come out there. I know. I've seen you on the news
It's a majority white
with
nation.
the fucking Quran saying that you're against this book. What against the Quran are you against?
Reading things out.
Yeah. Out of context. Anyone can do that out of context. I can read the Bible out of context.
Okay.
And the Bible's far worse out of context than the Quran.
Rather than arguing me, go argue with ISIS, go argue with Boko Haram, go argue with Al Qaeda.
I do. So why don't you go argue with all the paedophiles in the churches?
Okay.
Why don't you go
Do you believe in free speech?
Yeah.
How about you
So
fuck off and let me finish my interview then?
why is your free speech only against Muslims?
And it's frustrating, actually, because shortly after that, he gives them a good old nudge. Tommy Robinson, breaking news, admits that most nonces are white men. Fucking hell. That's actually, put it on the front page. I mean, what Ty Mitchell says there, which is really good, is the vast majority of grooming gangs are white men. But you wouldn't know that, would you, if you listened to Teeny Tiny Tommy? Teeny Tiny Tommy is only interested in Muslim grooming gangs. And there he is in a Muslim country. It's weird, isn't it? Shitting himself, Jacqueline Williams. And a number of other people, there were other shots or takes or reels of him standing there. A number of people stating that Tommy looked very agitated in a sort of almost artificially agitated fashion. But there we go. Anyway, well, there you go. And a final clip, just for a little bit of fun. Everyone obviously is heading home for Christmas. It's that wonderful, is it Chris Rea, the song? Is it Chris Rea? That song, Driving Home for Christmas, all that bollocks. I love that song. It's, really nice. This meme really resonated. Less so for now, because so many members of my extended family, sadly, tragically, have passed, and my mum is quite liberal anyway. But this I just thought was quite funny. Check this out.
Back.
Surprised made out London with all the Muslims running around with knives.
It's such a shame what's happened to that city. You see all these doctors are on strike. They are so ungrateful. I mean, how much money do they want? They get paid enough, don't they? So selfish. If you make a joke nowadays, you get put in prison.
The only people they're putting in prison.
Oh yes, quite right.
Starmer's terrible.
I agree with that one.
He's still letting in so many refugees. Once we get rid of the refugees, everyone will be happy and rich.
Obviously.
Oh God, it is that time of year where you have to tolerate political opinions that you just think, oh fucking hell, I'm related to that opinion. Jesus H Christ. Too tiresome, too difficult, too torrid. Anyway, guys, have a lovely rest of the day. Vlogmas will be landing later. Something else will be landing later too. I'll also be dropping a review of the new Knives Out film. Avatar. I haven't seen Avatar 2, so I'm not in a position to review Avatar 3. And I was going to go and see Pillions, even though it's all about very BDSM. Is it? Anyway, I'm not entirely sure. I will review that. I'm looking forward to Marty Supreme is the big movie I'm looking forward to. So anyway, guys, and Wicked, be good. Go and check it out. It's great. It's great fun. All right, guys. See you later. Something else will be landing later in the day.